While the furniture that you select to put on your rifle can be very subjective based on your preferences for comfort, or maybe it's some fashion sense or whatever it happens to be, I do believe there are a couple things to take into consideration that are going to provide a lot of benefit to everybody, regardless of body type, regardless of preference, regardless of whatever. In fact, I'm not a real big fan of the statement, well, do whatever works for you, because the reality is that's usually a catchphrase used by people as an excuse to get away with the most retarded, stupid thing possible on their rifle. So let's talk about a couple of these things that I'm talking about. And the first one is the type of stock you're going to use on your rifle. So when you go to place a stock in your shoulder and build a connection on the rifle, the way we like to look at it is it's just as important, like this concept is just as important as how you grip a handgun. How you're positioning that stock in your shoulder is your grip. So if you have a super loose grip on a handgun and you're shooting, it's no different than if you have a stock placed really loosely in your shoulder and it's moving all around. You're gonna have the same impact ultimately. Your gun's jumping around, so your rounds are doing crazy stuff downrange. With a handgun, if you do the same thing with a rifle, your gun's dancing around in your shoulder pocket, your rounds are gonna look like Swiss cheese downrange if you're rapid firing. So as we're trying to maintain positive stock connection, or pulling the gun nice and tight into our shoulder, or making sure there's meat behind the entire stock and we're using that entire surface area on the back of the stock, we want to make sure that the stock that we have selected is stable. So here's what I mean by that. So this is my old BCM rifle. I've shot this quite a lot, as you all can see. It's very well worn. I selected a B5 Systems Bravo stock a long time ago as my preferred stock. It's a great stock. I really like them. Like, I'd still be perfectly happy to shoot with one today. But what I've noticed with this particular stock is it rattles quite a lot. When I go to place a stock like this into my shoulder, it can cause a lot of additional movement up and down as I'm flexing my shoulder, as I'm moving my body, and it just is adding additional movement into the weapon that I have to account for or take out through, the pressures that I'm using on the rifle. If I take a stock like this BCM, which in the past I never was really a huge fan of, mainly due to how they looked, one thing I've noticed with these stocks is they are extremely stable. They don't really rattle. And a lot of that is due to how the stock is locking up on the buffer tube. When you go to add one of these stocks to your buffer tube or remove, you'll notice that it's a really tight fit. It's kind of annoying. You have to depress this, shove a tool inside, pull the tool, pull it really hard in order to pull the stock off or put the stock on. But what that means is the fit on the buffer tube is really solid. So when I go to get a stock connection with this stock, I'm not getting all that play and slop back here, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. It's one with the entire gun, and the only thing I have to worry about is how I'm shooting the rifle. So I want to try to pick a stock that has minimal flex and minimal slop. And you'll start to see this being a problem on certain weapons like, say, a SCAR 16, where the stock is a collapsing or folding stock. It's plastic on the rear, like there's an aluminum plate, but it's mainly just plastic on the back. You look at one of those and boy, it's all over the place. And when you go to stock, place it in your shoulder, you'll notice a lot of up and down movement out here as it's being held in your shoulder. Not great for shooting performance. But let's look at a stock over here. This is the Magwells CTR. This is an interesting stock because it has this tensioner tightener, little symbol here at the back. So after I place where I want my stock for my optimal length of pull, which I can determine through putting my stock in the crook of my elbow and making sure it's a nice comfortable fit from my hand, safety, finger on trigger, so about right there. I then shut the little mechanism right here, and that firms up the stock. So it's not this super rattly mess like this. Now it's pretty firm. Not quite as firm as the BCM stock, but a little bit better than the B5. I like shooting with this stock because it's scalloped on the sides. So when you're wearing body armor and equipment, it's a little bit easier to place that with all of that stuff versus some of these stocks out there that have a little bit larger profile in the back. So that's just a couple things to think about with your rifle stock. The mil-spec stock that comes on every rifle out there, or even some of the cheaper Magpul stocks, you'll look at those, you'll retract it all the way, and boy, that thing's all over the place. And I highly recommend you swap that out, whatever it is, and look for a stock that is really stable to your rifle and it has no play in it at all, or as little as play as possible. Now, the next one is your grip. So obviously stock is the most important component that you're going to be interfacing with your body, but the next one is going to be your grip. Now, what's nice about your grip is when it comes to managing recoil, How much pressure you're putting into the gun on the fire control is not going to provide a whole lot of recoil management on a weapon like this. The majority of that recoil management is going to come from your stock placement, how you're, eliminating slop by pulling with your support hand. Your right hand can actually, frankly, just kind of be loose and literally just work the trigger in the safety. However, when it comes time to do manipulations, reloads, malfunction clearing, you're doing a check drill, going back from a rifle, going back to your carbine, one thing that I have noticed, and this is going to apply to everyone just due to angles and body mechanics, if you want to use like fancy words and stuff, is if I have a standard A2 angled grip, like this ergo grip right here, when I'm trying to manipulate the rifle with one hand, there is a lot of pressure being directed to my middle finger. It's just not a very intuitive angle for holding the gun outright like this. While I do my reloads, while I do my recoil, my malfunction clearing, whatever it is I'm doing, it's just not the most comfortable experience. And if you have a really heavy rifle, something way heavier than this, you may have some trouble. Now that's where you say, I'll just go to the gym more, and it's like, okay, sure, yeah, but what if I can actually use a component that just makes manipulating the rifle a lot easier? And then if I'm also jacked, well, now it's even more easier. So what you can do is find a grip that has less of that A2 angle and is a little bit more vertical. So in this case, a BCM, once again, they've done a great job making furniture, and I've used these for a long time. By bringing the grip into a more neutral angle, I can have more of my hand supporting the weight of the rifle. So instead of all the weight being directed to just my middle finger, now I can actually use my entire hand to hold up the rifle. And I'm not a big jacked dude. I've been going to the gym for, a while and trying to get bigger. But I can easily hold out a rifle like this, do all my reloads, do all my stuff without any trouble. And that's because of having a grip with a more neutral angle, which makes it easier to manipulate as a whole. Now, I'm not just chilling for BCM, because down here, I've got another component that I think is super important and super handy. This is the Magpul bad lever, which honestly should be called the good lever because it's just awesome. This little component is going to attach to any of your standard bolt release, bolt lock assemblies on your rifle. If you have an aftermarket rifle like a Sons of Liberty Gunworks Mark I, like I've got a couple of, an ADM, like some of those rifles that have their own aftermarket parts, this is not going to work on those bolt releases. It'll only work on a standard mil-spec bolt release. But what this does is it enlarges the paddle on the left side of the firearm, so it makes it a little easier to manipulate, but it also gives you this convenient lever going through the trigger guard, which you can manipulate. Yes, it does mean putting your finger in the trigger guard, but now I can manipulate my bolt all with my firing hand. So I can pull the charging handle back with my left hand, do all the things with the rifle. This is a pretty heavy gun. I'm holding it out because I have this nice grip. It's not a problem. I do my thing, drop the bolt, keep shooting. It's just a very convenient component, and it's like $30. It's like 28 bucks, something like that. It's a very cost-effective component. One thing you will notice is it does have some slop and some play. That's due to they're building these to fit on every mil-spec slide release out there. Never been a problem for me and never had trouble with that. There are folks out there that say that these can cause NDs. If they're doing that, they're retarded. With training and having some common sense applied, you could stick your trigger in here when you need to unload the weapon without pulling the trigger. You can pull that back. When I go to drop the bolt on a live round, I could do it keeping my finger outstretched, flick the safety back on without ever going to the trigger. With a little bit of practice, it's a perfectly safe component. The only time it might be unsafe would be if you have a giant Arctic snow glove and maybe you've popped your floor plate here so you can get your finger in there, and now you're sharing a trigger guard with a huge glove with a mechanism to control your bolt and then a mechanism to shoot the gun. Probably not a good idea. But overall, bad lever is a good lever. It's an awesome component. Highly recommend. I have them on most of my guns, as long as one of the guys doesn't take it off because they're shooting it because they don't like them for whatever reason. I've got bad levers on everything. And the last component we'll just touch on briefly is a magwell. I don't think magwells on rifles provide as much benefit as, say, a pistol. On a pistol, especially if you have low training value, you haven't spent a lot of time on the range, a magwell can give you a lot of room for error when it comes to a reload. Once again, I guess if you had no training on a rifle, it could provide that same sort of enhanced room for error. I have this magwell from HRF on this gun to kind of play with, just mess with. But if I grab any of these other rifles that don't have magwells, I don't feel like I'm being I'm not being held back from a super spicy fast reload. Ultimately, it comes down to training. A magwell can help a little bit. Where a magwell can be kind of annoying is with 20 round mags. You go to reload, run your hand up in there, you smash your hand into the magwell. It's not a fun experience, but it's definitely something to play with. I will recommend though, if you do go look into a magwell for your AR, make sure you get a minimalist magwell. Don't get one of those massive like Arendondos. I love Arendondo. I put their mag plates on my pistols, but man, their magwells like doesn't really work with 20s. It's kind of uncomfortable with 30s because it's so big and it's so easy to smash your hand into. I've used those and kind of got rid of them right away. But this small magwell from HRF, there's a couple others out there, can be handy. It's just another component to look into that could enhance your experience training and shooting an AR-15. So I did a video a long time ago that some of you guys probably saw talking about foregrips, different kinds and what they do. And it was a fun video to do at the time. It was a lot of exploration was going on at that time. I was getting new into guns and playing with things and buying everything and trying it out. I still do that to some extent with some of these different parts. But what I have found over the last few years, as I have been refining how I shoot rifle and trying to really find the most consistent, predictable way to shoot a rifle, what I have discovered is a vertical foregrip doesn't do anything. In fact, it actually inhibits your ability to be able to shoot a rifle. If you go to shoot for barricades, if you're just dealing with inconsistency of pressures as you're mounting the rifle and trying to shoot in a way that gets your dot to return the same every time, a vertical foregrip, and I still have it on this gun because it's, you know, nostalgic, it just applies too much downward force to the rifle and leads to all kinds of problems downrange. Now with training, you can overcome that and you can figure out a way to shoot it, you know, the most consistently possible, but is that worth it? Are you getting enough benefit out of this little piece of plastic they're putting right here? Or would it be better to remove it and shoot the gun in a much more neutral way, allowing the gun to do what it needs to do, and then controlling the gun based on, you know, what you see is happening downrange and figuring out how to do that more reliably, which you can do without the interference of a vertical foregrip, without the interference of a right-handed angled plastic or metal thing. The metal ones are stupid though. Well, plastic ones kind of are too. It's just gonna add a whole lot of input that is hard to control and hard to manage as you are training. And a lot of us, you know, I don't even shoot as much as I used to. A lot of people don't have a lot of time to shoot on the range. So should we be setting up our guns in a way that require us to, you know, have to factor in certain things and it's a lot harder to control the gun? Or do we want to set up our guns in a way that allows us to control the gun much more easily without as much training? I'm going to go with the easier way that requires less training every time so I can focus on other stuff. So you'll see with a lot of our guns here, there's no foregrips on them unless it's some sort of crazy like tiny gun, and that, you know, having this angle right here is really comfortable. If it's a normal AR-15, if it's an SPR, if it's a precision gun, if it's a whatever, there's gonna be no grips on the rifle at all. We're not even using them as barricade stops because that causes other problems with rail deflection and things like that. We're just running the guns as slick as possible so we can shoot them the most predictably as possible and in a way that allows us to achieve the best results on those targets down there.